After testing the voltage reader in hot water, I will now test it in cold water. Like before, I've made sure to wipe the ends of the jumper cables and put them in the 5-volt channel to make sure that we are getting an accurate reading on the LCD screen. I will now take the two wire ends and put them into the cold water to see if cold water adversely affects the voltage reader. Like the hot water, we are not getting a correct reading. The correct reading should be, with fresh water at room temperature, 0.05 to about 0.07. This is giving us a voltage reading a little bit higher than what we should be getting. So it is clear that both hot water and cold water adversely affect the voltage reader, while hot water more so does this than the cold water. I will now test the depth sensor in cold water to see how cold water affects the readings that I get. The calibration I'll be using will be that of the freshwater calibration. I currently have about 24 millimeters of water, as with all the other tests, to ensure consistency. These analog output readings are much lower than that of the hot water or the salt water, being much more in line with the fresh water at room temperature. While they were a little bit lower, they were still not as accurate as they needed to be, as the final depth of the water is reading 44 millimeters, while it was more closer to 24 millimeters in depth. After making the necessary calibrations to the code, I will now once again test the depth sensor in the 24 millimeter cold fresh water. We have gotten the correct 24 millimeter output reading that we should have gotten from the step sensor, meaning that the corrected calibrated code for cold water is correct.